Well, the new Doug car has arrived, and it's this, a 1997 Dodge Viper GTS, finished in the famous blue with white stripes. I finally caved, did what you asked, and bought a Viper. Now, I bought it here in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is 450 miles from my home in Philadelphia, and now I'm gonna drive it home, assuming that it makes it. So here are my first impressions driving this Viper, the first Viper I've ever driven, 450 miles home from Raleigh to Philadelphia. Now, you'd already know I got the Viper if you were checking autotrader.com/oversteer because I revealed it there last week. Now, let me tell you a little bit about why I decided to choose this Viper. I'm not really a Viper guy. Clearly, a lot of you people are, but I'm not. They're not really my thing. But the blue and white GTS, when I was a kid, even I was into this thing. And I'm not a big Viper person, but I thought, this is cool. And I even had a scale model of this car when I was 12. And to me, this is just the iconic Viper. When I think Viper, I think blue and white 96, 97 GTS. That's the car. That's the Viper. It makes 450 horsepower, or it did. I suspect we're gonna have to dyno it to find out how much it's still making. So I was pretty excited, but then quickly I hit traffic in Raleigh. There's nothing like sitting in heavy traffic in 97 degrees, feels like 109 degrees in a Viper. Truth be told, the clutch isn't as bad as I was expecting. It's not good. Thinking it was gonna be like, oh, I'm in pain, I hurt, I can't keep going, I have to stop. It's not that bad. Eventually, traffic cleared and I had the chance to actually drive the Viper a bit more. The seats are surprisingly comfortable. They feel really nice. For all the stuff you hear about the Viper being loud and crashy and harsh, the seats are actually like lounge chair comfortable. You can tell that it's probably really fast, but I'm afraid to push it right now. I don't know the car's limits, and also the tires are pretty worn. The thing that worries me the most about this car is the sheer number of people who have told me to be careful in it. I can't tell you how many friends have texted me, colleagues, associates, have texted me and said, oh, I had a friend who had one of those, he wrapped it around a telephone pole, oh, I had a friend of those, he crashed into a tree. I'm like, oh my God, is this thing really that scary? On the highway, going normal speed, it's not scary at all. It's hard to believe in those stories. When you're just cruising on the highway, it feels pretty normal. At some point, I took a quick stop at Katie's Cars and Coffee in DC, the best cars and coffee in the whole country, where the Viper was a huge hit. And then I got back on the road. The thing that's notorious about this body style of Viper is there are virtually no driving aids. There's no traction control, there's no anti-lock brakes, so you're kind of at the mercy of the car. I get the sense that it doesn't seem that crazy until it starts to get out from you, and then you're screwed. It's up to you and your skill. Probably the biggest surprise, in addition to the fact that the seats are pretty comfortable and the ride isn't really so bad, is the fact that it isn't really that loud in here. I know a lot of Viper guys put these big exhausts on them to really get some sound out of it, but this one is completely original in every way, and on the highway, it doesn't sound a lot louder than a regular car. I'm actually impressed with how drivable the car is. I think the main reason for that was my expectations. So many people told me the car was going to kill me that I thought I'd barely be able to drive it. Yes, the clutch is heavy, but I was expecting it to be unimpressively heavy. And yes, the air conditioning is a little weak, but I was expecting it to be just barely any air, and it's actually not so bad. And yes, it's a little loud and the ride is a little rough, but it isn't as bad as everybody said. Everybody was like, oh, it's so awful, the Viper, how can you handle it? The truth is, it's not impossible to handle. A person can drive this car, I swear. Nonetheless, it's worth noting, in addition to the tires being a little old, the previous owner, the guy who sold it to me, said, don't ever drive it in the rain. He said in the rain, it just is a crazy experience. The only other real compromise of the car is the knee room. Specifically, my left knee is right up against the door panel on the dashboard, to the point where I think if we got in an accident, it would smash into my knee and it would destroy my whole leg, which is kind of worrying. It is not as stable and composed as a German or European luxury car. You can feel the shifter shakes when you put your hand on it. The shifter's rumbling a little bit. You can hear some drivetrain noise. You can hear some parts rattling and together. You don't get that kind of stuff with a Porsche. I don't want to make it seem like this car is heavily compromised, though. The knee thing, the visibility is great. I can see everywhere. It'd be nice if the mirrors were power. They're not. I got to get out and adjust that one myself. But everything else, you know, like I said, the air is blowing on me, the ride is not so harsh, it's not really all that loud, and before I knew it, the 500 miles were complete, and I was already back in Philadelphia. So I made it home. And to be perfectly honest, I kind of like this thing. Now, if you recommended the Viper, I hope you're happy because it doesn't get any more Viper than this. And if you didn't recommend the Viper, don't worry. I've still got the Aston for another 3 months until the bumper-to-bumper warranty expires. And I have some really cool stuff planned for it. And if you don't like the Viper or the Aston, well, guess what? I have an extra special surprise Doug car coming. A very unique, exciting vehicle that should arrive in about a month. So stay tuned to my channel and keep checking autotrader.com/oversteer for more updates.